Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in live, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. First and foremost, for all of you that have been becoming our special YouTube members, thank you with early member-only releases, early releases for members. The videos that we're making, they're going to help you make more money, and that's what we've heard. Year over year, we're here able to give you information to help you learn more about the markets and make more money. And of course, we see some, comments here and there that we don't agree with, but we certainly love seeing all these. So if you do have questions for us today, please ask them. We're going to answer those. We have some questions from over the last few days. But before we get into anything, let's just go right into the markets. Let's just talk about it again. Have questions, please ask. I'm going to start with copper. I know, I know it sounds so crazy, right? But if you're holding on to copper, that's something that you shouldn't be doing, because I have a very strong sell recommendation on copper prices. And we're going to pull up some of the copper prices right now. But what have we seen in the last week or so? Well, we saw prices hovering around $4.75. Saw a big 25-cent drop. And this morning, after President Trump's speech last night, we saw a big jump in copper. And you can see here, 25-cent jump today. Now, problems with that. No one that I know has given me 25 cents more today. Everyone has already talked about widening their spreads. And this is something we spoke of, I believe, last week. When you have prices that go up this high, this fast, scrap yards aren't just getting 25 cents. The people that are buying the material at the mills, they're not just giving 25 cents. Some of these prices are being manipulated by trading, and because they're being manipulated by traders, whether it's off of tariff talks or whatever else, that doesn't represent actual demand. So we're not seeing the demand increasing, right? A 5% increase in copper prices in one day has happened 24 times in 18 years that I've been working. So when you see these prices, like I didn't increase my prices by 25 cents today. I'm scared. I mean, tomorrow I'll increase them by a few cents. But I was told right as the prices were popping in my inbox this morning between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., 3 different buyers told me our spreads are going to widen. So yes, the copper prices are up, but the bad news is that it's more off of trading and tariff talk than it is demand. And demand supply is what actually fuels the real prices, because this could be a temporary run up and then a temporary run down will happen right afterwards. So those are things that we're trying to avoid. Now, article I read on investing.com talked about how copper prices have now surged by 13%, and that's U.S. copper prices have surged by 13%, outpacing the LME, which has only increased by 8%. So, Tom, what does that mean? Well, there's multiple prices for copper that end up getting traded here in the United States. As tariffs are hitting and copper may be staying more inside the country, the prices have gone up, where prices outside of the United States have gone up as some other, steel prices and things have gone up as well, but the demand is still not there. So we're starting to see a little bit of a disparity in pricing. This morning, for instance, I'm going to read a quote from a trader that I was talking to. I can't post this because it's just a quote. And here's what they said. We're hearing that the prices are reactionary based on tariffs. LME copper, most of the world uses this exchange, is trading much lower than COMEX. This is by far the widest spread that we've seen between the two markets. Copper mills have widened spreads dramatically, and they are taking limited orders. They have no increased demands at the mills. So that's directly from a copper trader that I talk to every single week. That was the first thing that kind of hit my text message chain this morning. So keep that in mind. That's why I have a very strong sell on all of your material right now. Even as we approach $5 per pound, let's just do math. If you have 1,000 pounds of copper, you're waiting for $5. That's 20 cents. That's $200. But it might not be that, right? Or you're waiting for that. What if it goes down to $4? You could lose out on a few hundred. So, there's this seesaw effect where you have to gauge what is worth you selling. I personally continue to flip every few days. And copper prices have gone up, which is a great thing. But we've seen lots of prices reported out there. We're paying $3.90 for bear break today at our yard. We plan on increasing that well over $4 tomorrow. We were going to be doing it last week until this decrease happened. And, people think that because the copper prices are up, that scrap yards are making more money. This is really confusing for us. And I know you don't feel bad for scrap yards, but I'm trying to explain what we look at, because I didn't get 25 cents a pound extra today on everything that I have, right? I already had deals that were done. So you have to look at these things and kind of take it with a grain of sand, and we'll continue to update you as things go. More news that I've read about copper pricing. This is from Recycling Today. Smelting fees for copper concentrate in China have dropped significantly, with firms now paying $20 per ton to process ore, down from $90 per ton in August 2023. This could have significant implications for scrap metal pricing and exports as the Chinese look to source more material from global markets. There's a really interesting article, and we'll share the link. But when you get to learn about what people are looking at and how they're trying to figure the markets out, it's interesting to see that refining rates are down by 70%. So you have, a cheaper way to process copper. So now what does that mean? Maybe the oil prices going down have made it cheaper to process. Maybe they're seeing that these tariffs going into place and the new administration coming in is going to make things difficult, and they would rather eat some of the processing costs to keep their factories moving than sit here and charge full price. So these are different things that could happen. It's not always, things are just cheaper. Sometimes it's a bit of a market manipulation. Think of it like this. Whenever you get an email in your inbox, flash sale, here, everything must go, 50% off. Well, what does that probably mean? That company has extra inventory. That company is a little slow. That company's looking to make some more money on older products. They send some stuff out or some specials where they have really large profit margins. And when you look at the copper side of things, it doesn't always work the same way, but processing, same. Here's a flash sale. Can we get some things out? So again, these are just things that we're looking at when it comes to the markets right now. Other things that I'd like to go over today: steel prices. Oh my gosh! Let's just give a quick round of applause here for steel. We have seen steel prices rise by like $60 a ton, not week over week over the last few weeks. But as recent as a few weeks ago, we had our steel prices at like $80, and we're up to like $1.20, $1.30 that we're paying out. And I see those prices increasing by another $20 to $30 per ton by April, if not early April. So scrappers, some really strong prices we have here. And we'll go over some questions on steel and some other things later. So continue to ask questions, and we're going to get you those answers later on. Prices are good. So steel pricing is strong. We've seen light iron go up. We've seen heavy prepared goes up. We've seen number one prepared pricing go up. Some of the heavier grades have gone up by $70 to $100 per ton. So once your scrapyard fills some old orders, you're going to see some really nice prices out there, and it's going to be a really great thing overall. So we're really looking forward to seeing how this goes. Article that we read out of Metal Miner talked about some countries dumping steel. So it says here, Vietnam and South Korea imposed anti-dumping duties between 19 and 38% on Chinese steel, following the U.S.'s 25% tariff. So what does this mean? Well, we're trying to figure out where the happy median for world trading is, because what we want to be able to do is have markets that make it fair to trade materials, whether it's iron ore or scrap steel. So what's going to be happening with the tariffs? We may be going through a world reset when it comes to trade. President Trump last night in his address said that we're going to have reciprocal tariffs on all countries. So if they're charging us $1, we're going to charge them $1 or a percentage or whatever it is. It's going to be a little tumultuous. I believe that he alluded to that. It's going to be a little rough for a little while. We are, in my opinion, going to see some prices increasing on goods and services. And that's just because the services are going to have their goods raised as well. But what I thought was really interesting that I heard about with all this tariff talk, is it big news? Absolutely it is. But here's what I thought was really interesting, and you may find this as well. The U.S. imports, the U.S.'s market, about 11% is imports. A majority of the United States, kind of revenue, if you will, or how money's created, is through goods and services. So yeah, the tariffs are going to hurt, but I think that steel prices are up, and I think that those scrap prices are going to continue to roll higher for a while. I'm not going to go too heavy into some of this, the talk between the United States and Ukraine on this rare earth deal. Why don't we let ink hit paper, and then we'll talk about how that's going to affect the markets. We talked a little bit about this last week, but I don't really see huge impact on steel, copper, stainless prices from this project, which A, hasn't been signed, B, hasn't started, C, if it was started today, you're months, if not years away from production. So right now, I don't see much of a impact, but we're going to see what happens. Now, another metal that I've been watching, which really, I've been really hoping to see a nice increase on, is stainless steel. And Domin, if we pull up the iScrap site and pull up some of the reported prices for stainless steel prices have really been very, very low, with prices reported in the 20 to 35 cent range. I recently quoted a large customer that had almost 20,000 pounds of stainless, just under 40 cents a pound. I think it was 37 cents. Those are the very small margin on there. Stainless is just not strong with a 33-cent national average. You can see some of these prices over the last week, 33, 35, 18, 35, 30. Not really big pricing when it comes to stainless. And we do see a 49-cent number there. That may have been a different grade. I just don't see these prices having real footing. I don't see the nickel markets being strong. I don't see strong growth moving forward when it comes to nickel. I don't see large expectations on it. So I just don't see a lot of things going on that's going to make me say, woo, when it comes to scrap stainless pricing right now. But Dominic, I think we have a couple of questions before I talk about some other markets like catalytic converters and tungsten. Why don't we pop a couple of those questions up there so we can start talking about what's going on in the markets and answer some users while we're live here. Besides Alnico magnets, are ceramic or nibdium also worth scrapping? Ceramic is a no. I wouldn't scrap ceramic magnets. I have no market for them. I personally use them as magnets opposed to just trying to get rid of them. So I would say no to ceramic. Alnico and the Neos, yes, Alnicos have value, but again, how much weight do you have? 5 pounds, 100 pounds, 1,000 pounds. Everything is really, really tough to sell in small quantities. And that's one of the issues that many of you have, because you want to get better prices, but you don't have higher quantities. So you're caught between a bit of a rock and a hard place. Another question, Dominic. But those magnets, the ceramic, use them in your trucks, in your trailers, just for testing. Dennis says, question, how much number one prepared before I can bargain a better price? 500 pounds, less or more. So Dennis, if you came to my yard, we don't buy steel less than 500 pounds. So even if you had 500, I'd probably give you board price. Generally, for me to increase steel pricing, I need to see a dumpster worth. So if you came to my yard with 1,200 pounds, 1,100, 500, even 2,500, those are regular numbers for scrap yards. Don't forget, we don't deal in pounds when it comes to steel. We don't deal in tons when it comes to steel. We deal in hundreds or thousands of tons when it comes to steel. So it's hard to get negotiating power on things like that, but you can get it when it comes to scrap. So check out the YouTube page. Our members only has had some videos on negotiating your non-ferrous pricing, but hopefully that answers the question. Another question, Dominic, let's shoot it out here. Does aluminum have similar levels of contamination and insulation when grading like copper has ICW, CBM number 1, number 2? Yes. So ICW stands for insulated copper wire. So that's not exactly the same. So in the aluminum world, it's IAW, insulated aluminum wire, and that has similar contaminants because it's based on percentages. A piece of 750 MCM aluminum is going to be, more valuable than a smaller piece. Maybe it's a HHN piece or a piece of aluminum inside Romex, which is happening nowadays. So copper has grades more along of what the actual grade is, 6061, 6063, painted material, clipped material, old sheet, cast aluminum, so different grades. But check out some of the YouTube videos that we've made on aluminum grading, which will help you a lot. Another question, Dominic? Next one up. Is it true that old hard drive needles have precious metals inside them? Aside from gold, what else? So generally, yes, the whole old hard drive needles do have precious metals. It is gold, but it's normally just that. And normally it's gold plated on top of something, brass or copper. Sometimes gold could be lightly coated onto another circuit, like aluminum piece or solder piece. So those needles that are there, yes, they have gold, but again, volume, volume, volume. And who's going to buy them from you? I don't think you're going to be able to walk into a pawn shop and sell the gold pins, but it is just things to keep in mind. Any other questions, Dominic? Yeah, here we go. Alex Murphy, how much change can we expect in brass with this jump in copper? So generally, I say that for every 4 cents that copper increases, that brass is going to increase by about a penny. It's not a rule of thumb. It could be 2 cents, right? Maybe for every 4 cents you see copper go up, brass will go up 2 cents. So when I look at some of these prices right now for brass, if we could pull up some yellow brass prices, we should be in the 215 to 235 range. So yellow brass is a great item. Copper prices going up is good. But again, listen to what I said in the beginning. Prices going up right now are based off of news, not based off of demand. Here's some prices you can see here in the last week. 215, 235, 210, 205, $2, 165, 206 a pound for yellow brass. I believe that we're paying around $2.15, $2.20, and that's why the iScrap app is out there to give you the ability to not get lowballed on your prices. So this is really great information. Hopefully that helps you, Alex. Dominic, we have any other questions? We'll take a second while he's resetting. Catalytic converter prices right now have been stalled again. Week over week, we've seen catalytic converter prices really flatlined. And unfortunately, it's surprising to me as gold prices have approached $3,000 an ounce, we have not been able to see any type of increase on the catalytic converter, platinum, palladium, or rhodium market. So the team over at rrcats.com continuing to quote having 10-day shipping for our free 10-day price locks, free shipping for OEM cats. But right now, we just don't see a huge upside when it comes to catalytic converter prices, unfortunately. I don't know what's going to be happening moving forward. I'm hoping that if we start to see a resolution taking place between Ukraine and Russia, right? We start to see those things happening, world markets reopening. We may start to see a little movement because now we can have goods and services go around the country. But right now, nothing too crazy. Dominic, any other questions we have popping up here? I see some comments, but nothing too crazy. We've seen some prices posted here, 78 cents for aluminum cans in St. Louis. You really should post these prices, 280 a ton for prepared steel in St. Louis. Please post these prices online. That's where we get a lot of these ideas and concepts of where the markets are moving. So by learning about those prices, it's going to help you, both locally and historically know where the markets are, and that's what helps you make more money. Now we talked about brass, copper, steel, cats. Aluminum prices have hit some of the highest levels ever. Again, I'm going to reference the trader that I spoke about earlier today. Domestic aluminum prices are at all-time highs. Now, demand isn't at all-time highs, but the prices are, and we've seen items like sheet aluminum starting to jump, by 5 cents, 6 cents. That's big numbers. That's like a 10% jump. Sheet aluminum prices, I believe, are pretty much in the 50 to 60 cent range. So a 5 cent increase is a really great thing to see. Again, this is more based on tariff talks and things like that. But I'm just saying, when you look at it, sheet aluminum, 50 cents, 55, 40, 55, 45. You're going to start to see these numbers increasing. I do expect to see another 5 cents added to the national prices in the next month. So you can kind of see where we've been at, and this is really great news. Dominic, before I kind of sign off here, do we have any other questions that we want to talk about? Almost. I saw one more about some copper and brass items, but scrappers, we have YouTube videos dropping every single week, multiple videos a week. So if you're not a member of ours, please become a member so you can get alerted for our videos that get out there before other people. We recently, this week, we just filmed some videos on aluminum. We filmed some videos on insulated wire that customers and users asked for. So our members only get early access to all of our videos. So really great information out there, and I hope that you guys are getting them. We have other questions that are coming in. We're going to go over those in the next few days, in the next week. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. We appreciate you tuning in. Markets are up, scrappers. Sell it all. I'd get it all out. If you haven't, followed our page, make sure you follow our YouTube page. And until next week, my name is Tom from the iScrap app, and I'll scrap you later.